We knew that there was a need there, that with the one-child policy, there were a lot of girls that were abandoned and needed homes. And we really felt led through our faith that that is the country. Every child needs a mom and dad. I think it's a God-given right to have a family, and there are 161 million orphans worldwide. So many kids that don't have a mom and dad. My heart is for the orphan. I have a burden for the orphan. And I just wish, and there are a lot of people, we are one of many that have multiple adoptions in their family. But I wish that there were more people that could see the value of bringing in a child that desperately needs a home.
My wife and I had talked about it for a while. Saw a documentary with China and what had happened, what happens with the kids in China, so we were drawn to them.
I have always felt like I had the heart for adoption. Even as a child, I felt like I wanted to have children through adoption. When I met and married my husband, that was a discussion that we had, and he was on board, and it took us a few years to actually start it, but the hope and desire was there. My husband and I didn't feel equipped. We didn't feel we had what it took to take care of a special needs child.
I mean, then we started talking about the process of how we wanted to do this, and maybe even talked about special needs, why we wanted to do special needs. So that's just communication with my wife and I.
Our hearts were tugged, and once we started looking into the program, there were special needs that we said, you know, we can manage that. Lindsay has a condition called arthrogryposis. It's a congenital birth defect, meaning it happened in utero when she was in her mother's womb. She has a limited use of her arms, like hand to mouth, but through getting her here, just getting her to the U.S. has opened up a completely different world for her. You know, we've met she has a wonderful orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Mass from University of Chicago, and she has a great occupational therapist at that hospital too. She's also been gifted with robotic arms. It's called the Rex, and that has helped her. With arthrogryposis, you know, she doesn't know what it's like to have arms like we do. So she's not frustrated. She's not irritated that she can't do things. With Rachel was 4 years old when we brought Lindsay home, and Lindsay was 3. We were concerned that Rachel would be jealous that another child was coming in, and because Trevor and Rachel are 11 years apart, there wasn't ever like, they never played together. They were essentially an only child, each of them, in their own way because of the age gap. Rachel surprised us at how open, at 4 years old, you know, she never was jealous. The minute that little girl walked in the door, Rachel claimed her. Our daughter Madeline has arthrogryposis too, and it affects her completely different. She's a little bit more independent. Her arms aren't as stiff, and she primarily is affected in her lower extremities. But again, you know, when we brought her home from China, she didn't have the muscle strength or the ability to even pedal a bicycle, and now we can't get her off her bicycle. She just takes off. Gracie's adoption was probably the most difficult as far as her special need. We just brought her home a year ago in April, and our adoption agency got in touch with us about this little girl who had a complex heart condition. It's amazing to me how God works in people. In our family, adoption is through our faith. I mean, we really feel like God leads us to these children. And I always always said, I can never adopt a child with a heart condition because it scared me, because they're so fragile. In fact, we were given her file to review, and we spoke to a couple doctors that didn't even believe that she was living. They said, this must be an old file. There's no way this child could even be alive. She came home. She made it on the plane. We brought her into the doctor within 48 hours. We knew what was going on with her heart. We thought she was going to need a complete transplant, but her heart was well enough that they could work with it. We found excellent doctors, and within a month of being home, she had her first open heart surgery.
自我介绍了啊，曹果。我叫曹果，我今年8岁。你喜欢干什么？我喜欢写字。喜欢画画。培训机构学画画，对不对？对，他画画都是讲的。So yeah, she said, my name is 曹果. I'm 8 years old. I like painting. Painting. And now he study in the painting school, and his work got an award.
Oh, good.
It'll work. It'll take time, but he'll adjust and we'll adjust. And I'm never going to say we're never going to adopt again, because every time we do. So I'm excited. I think a boy is going to be a good addition. So I think as long as the older sisters can stay older, I think it's going to be good. We're going to have challenges. We always do. But I think because Madeline and Grace can still speak Mandarin, I think that's going to be huge.
It certainly will change the dynamics a lot. But again, I think that the dynamics of the family changes every time we go through an adoption, and there's a process there, and there'll be another process, and there'll be another change, and everybody will kind of fall into place once we get through it. But yes, this may be the biggest change, just because he's a boy. I mean, boys and girls will play fine together, but they're different, so it'll be interesting.
Are you glad you finally have someone to carry on your last name?
I'd be lying to you if I said no. Again, I've never thought about I have to have a boy with my last name. It was never about that. But yes, I mean, it's certainly nice to know that the Korzai name will be carried on.